I mean, you've been in academia a long time. You've been in the fitness industry a long time. Have you seen the evolutions of both parallel each other or contrast in any way? Like, do you, I mean, you kind of walk a really fine line. Like you put on a, I mean, I'm remiss to say you put on a professor hat and then put on like a content creator hat, because I feel like those are very similar use. I feel like we're only getting kind of one mic across the board, but as you've gone through both and has ascended the ranks of both, like the social media content creation world, and then the academic side, moving through PhD or master's into PhD into professorship. Have you seen any similarities in the evolution of both industries, or maybe even at large the industry of fitness, health, exercise? Um, what has been sort of if you had to look back retrospectively on the last 10, 15 years, what are some big points or big changes that you can kind of like put your finger on and be like, you know what, back in the day, that used to be different?
I don't know how much the academy is evolving. And I say that half facetiously. I'll say it another way that's more direct and less rhetorical. The academy evolves at a substantially slower rate than private industry. And so a lot of the formal academy is becoming marginally less useful compared to going directly into private industry. So there are things you can do in the academy that are really, really awesome and you can't do in private industry, like research, for example, empirical research, formal exercise science studies, etc. There are ways of learning in a really formal manner in internships and things like that with sports teams that you can only really get through the academy. It's difficult to get through private industry. But on just about everything else, private industry is just better because it's way more varied. There's way more content to consume. There are different tiers of content from beginner all the way to advanced that are easily discoverable. And the content, the ability to learn through experts in private industry ranges all the way from free, from like you can just watch YouTube and listen to podcasts till you're blue in the face. You'll never get through all of them. And there's a lot of really high quality content out there. If you just decide to binge on like Stronger by Science podcasts or something, or YouTube episodes, I don't know, there must be hundreds of them by now. You're going to know a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of in-depth stuff. You don't even learn much of that stuff in school. So there's all the way from free to doing like some paid stuff, doing certification courses where you can accumulate an unbelievable amount of expertise never going to school. I still think there's a place for formal school, but mostly as a vetting body to do what in economics is called signaling. There's kind of two reasons people go to school. One reason is to absorb knowledge, like they teach you things in school. But the second reason is less well known, and that's signaling. That's to tell other people once you have a degree that you've been through school so that they know there's a higher probability that you know things. So, you're Dr. Jordan Shallow. I'm Dr. Mike Israetel. Like that means something. And yeah, of course, quotation marks around both of our degrees. But the University of Phoenix Online is a kind institution. Yeah. Oh, please. I don't even have a real PhD. But it's nice in that regard. But I think a lot of what you and I know from school, I don't want to speak to you. I mean, you have practical experience, like actual professors helping you do manipulations and things like that is difficult to get in private industry, certainly for cheap. But a lot of the stuff you actually convey currently to other people. So with all the podcasting you've done and all the books you've written, if someone's like really been a sponge to your content, I'm sure you've talked to some of these people at seminars. When someone comes up and asks you questions, you instantly get in and talk, you're like, holy shit, a lot of the shit I said and a bunch of other people have said. You're talking to someone that's like, oh, like they give you really hard questions. You're like, holy fuck, hold on, I gotta think about some shit I said earlier to answer that one. And you're like, oh my fucking God, like you may be paid $400 total for all of this education that you have, but this is a person without an undergraduate degree, so that's difficult for them to signal that they know things. So it's more difficult for them even on social media to make money and get clients. Like for you and I, it's pretty easy. Doctor, people just come swarming. So other than the signaling part, I think private industry can give you so much of the value, and the value prop in private industry is escalating rapidly. Like we're doing some work at RP currently. I can't talk about too much. We don't like to talk about work we're doing currently because If it takes longer than anticipated or the project is canned, it's kind of disappointing. But we're kind of designing sort of an online university situation that's going to be like a crap ton of content, which we've already recorded, by the way. So that's good. But it's going to be an unbelievable amount of content. I don't know, for like $30 a month. Like, god damn, that's hard to beat. Bro, you go to school, that's thousands of fucking dollars. And the quality of education in school is quite high. But now the internet has online courses you can do that are, I don't know, at least as high. So academia, to me, other than a signaling mechanism and a place to do formal research, as far as actually teaching people high ROI information about the world, the private industry is just, oh my God, light years ahead and climbing faster. So it's good luck catching up.
But the flip side of the scale is, the latency in up-to-date information out of the academy is offset on the the inverse side of that with the amount of absolute nonsense that can be uploaded at the strike of a key, right? So it's like there is a middle ground where, and I guess maybe it'd be interesting to get your take on what do you think the lifespan of that institutional signaling and its value in our industry is? Like, how much longer before the PhD, or will it always carry weight? Like a master's, does a master's get anyone anything now aside, or are people better off starting a YouTube channel or higher education right now? And if not now, when might that be a useful, parting of ways with like the old analog system we were sold versus the digital solution that's ahead of us?
It's a great question. There are a lot of potential answers to that question, and unfortunately I can't see into the future. But I have some things to say may be reasonable, some things that will sound wacky, but I believe they're true. So, first thing is, the industry of helping people with their health and fitness through the internet is a pie that grows way faster than you can split it up into chunks. And it's got so many chunks to it, so many little areas of specialty, that you can do a lot of different stuff. For example, Sam Sulek does not have a degree, is just a guy, and he's crushing it on YouTube because he's relatable and really cool, and people seem to want to watch his workouts and banter. There's that, all the way to you are someone like, what the fuck is that guy's name? Chris something or other. God damn it, it escapes me at the moment. There are people that you won't ever see their face. They just have Instagram accounts or Twitter accounts or whatever, and they publish little infographics that tell you about how Chris Beardsley, my man, thank you so much. Nobody knows what Chris Beardsley looks like. You could Google a picture from 2003 or something, but nobody really gives a shit because his following is people who want more data-driven type of stuff and more dry shit, which is awesome if you're an incel autist like myself, definitely, and many other people. You just want to cut straight to it. I don't give a Sam Sulek, you're cool, but I don't have time to listen to 30 minutes of your fucking bullshit on your workout. I want to know exactly how that works, that exercise, and I want to know the basic underlying principles of how that works. He's not going to teach me that. So I'm just in a different consumer market. There's people who want to get a bag that'll carry their groceries, and then there's people who want some kind of Louis Vuitton shit that costs $4,000. Neither one of those is objectively better than the other. It's just different strokes. So before you get into the production side on social media and fitness, you have to ask yourself who you want to be. And there's room for almost everybody. Now, almost everyone who does their shit well. But so it's one of those things where if you want to be more of a relatable person, if you want a lot of connectivity with your crowd, and if you want real world results and you've got a lot of passion and a lot of drive and you want a lot of social media production on your end to be especially organic, you don't need any fucking degrees. Holy shit. As a matter of fact, degrees can make you less relatable because people are, a PhD, hoity-toity. I want someone who looks like me, who sounds like me, who's got my educational background. I trust him. I can relate to that person. Relatability is a big fucking thing. On the other end, you want to become a super expert, then you're you have all the fucking degrees and shit like that and all the certifications. And then a lot of times what ends up happening is some of your information is consumed directly by people who are needing the help with health and fitness. But a lot of it is you communicate to other coaches who might even coach other people, who then coach the people that you're actually talking about. Like a lot of the people that tune into the RP YouTube channel, they're coaches and personal trainers themselves. So they get the information from us and then they pass it along to their clients. And some of the people are just regular people. So there's this whole stacked hierarchy pyramid, and it encircles the whole world of all the stuff you could be doing. So if you want to go down that formal credentialed path, it works. And to that end, to answer one of your questions, no, I don't think a master's degree is a big deal anymore. I think it's fine. I think even an undergraduate degree is cool. But what I would say is there's kind of an exponential by degree level of authority that you gain. And so if you go from no degree to an undergraduate degree, it might not be worth it legitimately to get an undergraduate degree in exercise science anymore, just if content creation and communicating with clients and making money through the internet is what you want to do. A master's degree has like a small marginal utility over an undergrad and a decent one over not having one, but maybe it's not worth the 6 years and $60,000 that shit costs. That's a lot. A PhD, doctoral degree of any kind, yeah, that carries fucking weight. Because there's a very different thing. And I noticed when I got my PhD, when I was Dr. Mike, so different than just Mike Israetel. Because there's a lot of Mike Israetels, but precisely zero, as far as I know. Maybe in alternate universes, but I'm training to kill them because there can only be one, goddammit. All other Mike Israetels watching this, motherfuckers, you've been change your name at least. Run. But you know, Dr. Mike, geez, that's a big deal. And I've noticed that carries a lot of weight. So for me, only by signaling, if only by signaling, my PhD was a really good idea. Now, I actually went to a PhD program that taught me formal sports science. I owe everything to that program. I became truly Dr. Mike in my knowledge as well from that program. But just on signaling alone, PhD is a big deal. So the landscape of just regular content production without any degrees, if you fucking, like if Sam Sulek was like, hey, should I get an undergrad in exercise science? He'd be like, fuck no, what are you out of your mind? 4 fucking years and $40,000 later, Jesus, depends on the school. I went to the University of Michigan, $100,000 later, you get like a little hat that says bachelor's of science? What? Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody even knows the fuck that is. What is your title? Still Sam Sulek. Okay, great. What about a master's? What's your title? You can't say Master Sam Sulek. That shit is problematic as fuck. They'll cancel you for that. And then what about Dr. Sam Sulek? Oh, so that fucks. That idea has a lot of sex with other ideas, making it the alpha male of ideas, and that's something you want to do. So then the doctor is like, there's like a big deal there that does something. And it's also similar to how you look or how transformative your physique journey has become. If you're a regular person and you're just baller at making content, that's great. If you have transformed yourself and have been out of shape before and then became ultra fucking ripped, that's a fucking huge deal. You can milk out that transformation for the rest of your journey. Why? Because you're ultra relatable. Other people who just don't look great, they look at you and they're like, I want that. And someone's like, we did that 7 years ago. Like, that's nice. So then he must really know how to do it now because he had 7 years to think about how he did that shit. He's really an expert. I want what the fuck he's got. But then the next jump is, interestingly, differently from the topography of the getting the PhD takes you on an exponent of how much that's worth. A lot of people make, I guess, a mistake. In many cases, it's a mistake going into competitive sports, competitive powerlifting, but especially competitive bodybuilding and physique sports. Because if you become a competitor, in order to appeal to people more, you have to win shit. And that's real hard because there's people with really great genetics you're competing against. You just have no say in the matter. If you just compete, if you want to coach competitors, dope. But if you want to coach regular people, if you compete in hypertrophy pursuits, physique pursuits, or even strength world, it just doesn't matter all that much. Now, if you do a strongman meet, you do a couple powerlifting meets, it's actually not that tough. It's a couple months of training and you'll be good. You get a participation trophy. Awesome. That's cool. I think that's great. And even if you want to do a physique show, but if you want to say, look, I want to compete in physique to really appeal to, you got to fill in the blank on that sentence. And it's to competitors and people who want to be competitors. Very small field. And then you have to be good at the shit. Or if you're like me and you suck at competing, you at least have to be objectively super jacked and lean and or have all kinds of other credentials to stack into that field so that when you show up and say, hey, I can coach bodybuilders, people are like, oh, what is it that you know especially? Because if you're just not that great at bodybuilding and you're not that great at coaching bodybuilders, just having done some bodybuilding shows doesn't get you fucking anything. And with regular people, they just don't care. And it could even alienate you a little bit of ways. You see that with females a lot, where as a female, if you want to be someone that's relatable, don't do a shitload of drawl and get your face looking like a fucking drawl doll. If you guys, people listening, know what that is. Now, yeah, it's all due respect. First of all, I think drawl doll is a fucking hot look, and I'm all about it. But it's just not as relatable. I mean, I look like a fucking triceratops or some shit, so nobody's saying I'm relatable. That's not my jam. But if you want a lot of clients in the mainstream population, don't you go hopping on the fucking lady sauce, and, you will have a goddess physique, but goddesses are very unrelatable, and this is maybe not the wisest idea. But if you want to be someone who coaches other competitors or real serious hardcore fitness folks, then yeah, you should do that. So the way I see it, Jordan, is like, whatever you go into in the fitness industry, you have to first choose, where do I want to take this? And then choose your plan of attack. I don't think it's true to say, like, for any goal, just getting a PhD is a real good idea, or getting a doctorate in chiropractic, or getting a medical degree. You got to have a plan for what the fuck kind of content you want to make and who you want to address with that content. Once you create that plan, then it's like, okay, so PhD makes sense. Or like, I want to be relatable and talk to regular people. And so here's an example. There's this gentleman named, I'm going to fuck up his name, I think, Mike Duela. I think that's how you say it. I don't know if you know who that is. He started a coaching company a few years back. Mike Duela is a great guy, super personable, super smart, super social. He's just a regular looking guy. He was not so fit, and then he became pretty fit. He was never like ripped or shredded or fucking huge at all, but he's great at the human side and ultra relatable. He eventually got a coaching company, which he had like dozens and dozens of coaches, and I think he sold it for like millions of dollars. He's the fucking man. But he went in there with just super kindness, respect, understanding people have difficulties with dieting, being like, look, I'm one of you. And he fucking is. I don't think he has any degrees. I think he has any formal education. He's just a fucking good-natured, kind soul who's really good at business. And he fucking did it, and he made a shitload of money. And there's tons of YouTubers. Oh my God, YouTubers and TikTokers. Dude, there's some of these people are fucking kids. You're like, Tristan Lee, what degrees does he have? A high school diploma, and like, that's what he needs to hit his demographic. Whereas some motherfuckers like you and I, we're all like hoity-toity, elite, educated motherfuckers, but that's just a different demographic that we hit. And so you got to find out what it is that you want to do. And then it may, because I do a lot of, sorry to ramble excessively, but I get a lot of people asking me in my DMs, can you please send me feet pics? Can you please answer one DM so that I know you love me? The typical stuff. But then another question I get a lot is, should I go get an undergraduate degree? I'm really passionate about this. I'm actually a lawyer. I'm starting to coach people and help with diets on the side. I don't know if I want to do law anymore. Should I go to school? And then I ask them, where do you see yourself? Where do you want this to go? Do you want to learn the underlying depths of knowledge to become a creator in your own right and an explainer of deep theory to other people? And they're like, no. Do not go to school. There is nothing you could even understand a lot of deep theory never going to school. And then if you do want to be those people, then I say, well, yeah, you're in a big fucking long journey of undergrad, master's, and doctoral degree. I just wouldn't stop at any of those. There's some nuances in there, but generally it's like, do you want to go to the pinnacle and get a terminal degree? Or do you want to just focus on learning things and figuring out how accurately and communicate them well to a wide audience, and then you're a TikToker, and then you don't fucking ever need to go to school.